I finally saw his true colors, but it was too late. We met in the soft haze of a Brussels autumn, the kind where the leaves on the Grand Place turn the color of burnt sugar, and the air smells faintly of waffles and rain. I was 29, newly transferred from Lisbon for a project at the European Commission, still dizzy from the speed of it all. He was 32, a consultant with a disarming smile and an accent that slipped between French, Dutch, and English like water between stones. His name was Elias. He approached me at a networking event in a converted warehouse near the canal, holding 2 flutes of champagne he hadn't paid for. "You look like someone who's tired of small talk," he said. I laughed because it was true. Within minutes we were outside, leaning against the cold brick, sharing stories about cities we'd both lived in but never at the same time. He told me about growing up in Ghent, the way the canals froze solid in winter and how he used to skate until his fingers went numb. I told him about the Atlantic waves in Cascais, how they could pull you under if you weren't careful. He listened, really listened. Not the performative kind, but the rare sort where the world narrows to just the two of you. When I mentioned missing the sea, he said, "Then we'll go to the coast this weekend. Ostend isn't Lisbon, but the North Sea has its own kind of wild." And we did. We drove in his old Peugeot, windows down, singing off-key to songs neither of us knew all the words to. He bought me mussels and frites on the boardwalk, and when the wind whipped salt across my face, he brushed it away with his thumb like it was the most natural thing in the world. For months it felt like breathing after holding my breath for years. He was thoughtful in ways that surprised me, remembering I liked my coffee black but with a whisper of cinnamon, leaving voice notes when he was traveling, telling me about the ugly hotel carpets in Frankfurt or the way the sunset looked over the Rhine. He met my friends, charmed them effortlessly. My colleague Marie called him the perfect specimen. Even my mother, who trusted no one after my father left, said, "This one seems solid, querida." We moved in together after 8 months, into a narrow townhouse in Ixelles with creaky floors and too many stairs. I painted the walls pale blue because he said it reminded him of the sky over Bruges on clear days. We talked about the future the way people do when they're still drunk on possibility. Maybe a house outside the city, maybe kids someday, maybe traveling together when the project ended. But there were small shadows, things I dismissed because love is excellent at making excuses. He'd cancel plans last minute, always with a believable reason. A client crisis, a migraine, family obligations. He was private about his phone, tilting the screen away when messages came in, laughing it off as boring work stuff. Once, I reached for it to check the time while his hands were full of groceries, and he snatched it back so quickly the bag ripped. "Sorry," he said immediately, kissing my forehead. Old reflex from a bad breakup. "I'm working on it." I believed him. I wanted to. The first Réal crack appeared during a dinner with his friends. We were at a long table in a candlelit bistro near Place du Luxembourg. Wine flowed. Someone asked how we met, and Elias launched into the story. Our chance encounter, the champagne, the weekend in Ostend. He told it beautifully, but halfway through he glanced at me and added, almost as an afterthought, "She was a bit lost back then, new city and all. I think I gave her something to hold on to." The table laughed lightly. I smiled too, but inside something twisted. Lost. I hadn't felt lost. I felt alive, ambitious, ready. Later in the car I said quietly, "I wasn't lost, Elias." He looked surprised. It was just a way of saying it. You know how stories get polished. I let it go. The cracks widened slowly, like ice on a pond in early spring. He grew sharper when stressed. A missed call from me became, "Why are you always checking up?" A late night at the office turned into him accusing me of not trusting him. He'd apologize the next day with flowers or breakfast in bed. Eyes soft again, voice low. "I don't know why I get like that. You're the best thing in my life. I'm just scared of screwing it up." Stayed. I told myself everyone has shadows. I told myself the man who skated frozen canals and kissed salt from my cheeks was the real one. Then came the night everything shattered. It was a Thursday in late March. I'd come home early from a meeting that ended ahead of schedule. The apartment smelled of his cologne and something sharper, perfume that wasn't mine. I heard voices from the bedroom, low and intimate. I didn't knock. Opened the door. Elias was sitting on the edge of the bed, shirt unbuttoned, laughing at something on his phone. A woman I vaguely recognized from his office, Sophie, the junior analyst, was beside him, legs crossed, her hand resting on his knee. They froze when they saw me. There was no scrambling, no frantic excuses. Elias just looked at me with calm, almost curious eyes, like he'd been waiting for this moment. "I thought you'd be later," he said. Sophie stood, mumbling something about leaving. She slipped past me without meeting my gaze. When the door clicked shut, Elias sighed. "Sit down, please." I didn't. "How long?" 6 months. Before that, a few times. Nothing serious. Nothing serious. The words landed like punches. "Why?" My voice cracked. He rubbed his face. "Because it's easy. Because you're always working, always planning, always so perfect. Sometimes I just wanted something that didn't expect anything back." I stared at him. The man who'd once driven 3 hours just to bring me sea air now looked smaller, ordinary. The charm that had felt like sunlight was gone, replaced by something cold and self-serving. "I loved you," I whispered. "I know." He sounded almost sad. "But love isn't always enough when someone needs more than one person can give." I left that night. Packed a suitcase while he watched silently from the doorway. I moved into a friend's spare room, then found my own place. A tiny studio near the Cinquantenaire with a view of the park. I threw myself into work, into friends, into anything that drowned out the echo of his voice. Months passed. Spring came, then summer. I walked the canals alone sometimes, remembering how he'd held my hand on those same paths. The memories hurt less with time, but they never disappeared entirely. One evening, almost a year later, I saw him on the tram. He was with someone new, younger, laughing at something he said. Our eyes met across the crowded car. He gave a small, polite nod, the kind strangers exchange. No guilt, no regret, just recognition. I looked away first. That was when I understood, truly, that the man I'd loved had never fully existed. He'd been a beautiful performance, tailored to what I needed, until the effort became too much and the mask slipped. The real Elias had always been there, waiting behind the smile, the one who took without giving back, who collected affection like currency, who could watch someone's heart break and feel only mild inconvenience. I finally saw his true colors, clear and unfiltered. But by then, the love I'd carried for him had already bled out, drop by quiet drop, leaving only the faint scar of what might have been. And in the silence that followed, I realized something else. It was never too late to walk away from a lie. It was only too late to